My observation is that we have two constants that are part of this discussion. You go back for 50 years, we've never generated, other than 3 years in the Clinton administration, maybe a couple years, more than 17.5% of our GDP and federal revenues. I'm not going to ask each one of you, but would you agree with that statistic? Are you aware of it? Just a nod of your head would be fine. I think it is. I mean, it's black and white. The other thing that's a constant since the Bush years would be that we've been running chronic deficits. I think that's black and white too. Probably got started even back in the Reagan years when we did cut taxes and paid no attention to what we were going to do with spending. That makes perfect sense knowing how this place works. So, given that's a constant, and whenever you, I think, cut taxes, you're going to deplete Treasury revenues a little bit, years 1 and 2 following it. Your economic growth generally does a little better. That might be kind of that trade-off stubbornness of why revenues never get much beyond 17.5%. So regardless of what we do with offshore revenues, whatever we do here, it seems like we'd want to make this place work with the reality of what the economy is able to do. I'd like to start over with Dr. Clausing and then go across the board. And I want you to make a statement. Is it tax policy? That's a bigger issue now on our trillion-dollar deficits we generate every 6 months. When I got here, it was every year about 5 years ago. And is it tax policy or is it spending? And try to make sense with whatever your answer is that it doesn't violate that big statistic that we only generate 17.5% of our GDP and federal revenues. Dr. Clausing.
I think one thing we saw in the late 1990s when we did move towards better and better budget situation and ended up once with the surplus, I had to change all my class notes and describe that, well, the U.S. government can run a surplus, is that both taxes and spending are clearly important here. At the time that we ran that surplus, we got taxes relative to GDP more in the neighborhood of 20%. I don't think the 17.5 is an invaluable rule. That number does move around quite a bit.
Is 25% where we're currently at? What do you think of it? And that's occurred through COVID, through the present administration. When you look at spending at its current levels, it's closer to 25% of GDP. I didn't cite that earlier, but that's probably out there. You could never raise revenues to reach that level. Would you agree with that?
I have a proposal that suggests we should aim to reduce primary deficits by about half the size that they are now. I do think we have a huge gap between spending and taxation, and that's a problem, and it's one that Congress...
And you'd have to do that on the back of spending, just from the logic that we've been throwing around here.
I think taxes have an important role to play.
About half of it, you said.
In increasing the deficit, and I think people need to be able to compromise and address both sides of that equation.
This is bad news. The cost of living adjustment for Social Security this year is already falling short, and millions of retirees and seniors are experiencing more financial difficulty to afford monthly expenses. Many are urging that the president follow through with his campaign promise to fix Social Security. A growing number of companies are also beginning to discuss a mandatory retirement age. My dear friends, please make sure that you watch until the end of this video. Also, every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, please click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you watch and then comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning the giveaways. According to the Motley Fool, many seniors today rely heavily on the monthly benefit they receive from Social Security. For some, it is their only source of income. Meanwhile, this year, Social Security benefits are receiving a 3.2% cost of living adjustment. While that's more generous than the recent COLAs, It's a much smaller boost than the 8.7% COLA that Social Security beneficiaries received last year. The whole purpose of COLAs is to help Social Security recipients maintain their buying power as inflation drives the cost of living upward. A smaller COLA in 2024 compared to 2023 indicates that inflation receded in the previous 12 months, but very recent inflation data points to an uptick in living costs. And if that trend continues this year, seniors on Social Security could really lose out. In December, inflation, as measured by the CPI, rose 3.4% on an annual basis. On a monthly basis, it increased 0.3%. Some notable 2023 increases included a 1.3% rise in the cost of groceries and a 3.3% increase in electricity costs. Rising shelter costs were also a big driver of the uptick. As the Social Security Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund faces depletion by the year 2033, President Biden has suggested to bolster funds in the trust and help fill the $23 trillion funding shortage. If our federal government cannot fix this shortage, it may result in benefits being cut by up to 23% for retirees beginning in 2033. While some of Biden's proposed changes will affect mostly high earners and company executives, some will also affect middle and lower income wage earners. This includes those who may rely on Social Security benefits in the future. One of the most popular proposals by the president is to change the way that COLA increases are calculated, but experts have noted that shifting COLA calculations to figures tied to the Consumer Price Index will not solve the problem of Social Security running out of money. But overall, it could put more money into the pockets of retired Americans who need it the most. Also, friends, according to Yahoo News, there are some discussions on mandatory retirement age in several companies. Former U.S. Vice President Al Gore, who was 75 years old, is stepping down from Apple's board because of the company's age-based restrictions for its directors, and it raises the question of ageism in corporate America. While age 75 or older is not an outright disqualifier for corporate leadership, it highlights the nuances surrounding age-related policies in the business world. In the realm of corporate governance, some companies adhere to mandatory retirement policies. However, these policies exhibit significant variability, with 97% of them setting retirement ages at 72 or higher, and 57% opting for 75 or older. Yahoo News has stated that CEO retirement age policies lack a standardized approach, making them subject to specific circumstances and decisions by individual boards. Some companies may choose to waive these policies, especially during a crisis, work shortage, or economic downturns. Notably, Target CEO Brian Cornell experienced flexibility in retirement age discussions based on the company's situation. Federal and state age discrimination laws provide protection to ranks and file employees, making it generally illegal for companies to impose mandatory retirement ages. However, exceptions exist for executives aged 65 or older who stand to receive specific non-forfeitable retirement benefits. This legal framework outlines conditions under which companies can set retirement ages for senior executives. While certain professions, such as surgeons, lack official retirement ages for performing their duties, public safety occupations often enforce mandatory retirement ages. Commercial airline pilots and police officers face age restrictions determined by federal and state laws. Advocates, including organizations like AARP, contend that all mandatory retirement ages, even in demanding public safety roles, should be eliminated. They argue for periodic assessments of fitness, rather than relying on arbitrary age restrictions. Scientific and medical studies cited by the AARP suggest that age-based discrimination may not be necessary for ensuring public safety. So, dear friends, what are your thoughts on all of this? Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Thank you, dear friends, for being part of this community. To say thank you and to show my appreciation, this coming Friday and every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. If you would like to enter the weekly giveaway, friends, all you have to do is click and like several of my videos and then comment below the keyword of each video that you watch. The more videos that you comment on, friends, the greater your chances of winning these giveaways. Thank you, and have a wonderful and very blessed week.